So this tutorial is all about setting up our page using guides so that we can add our content to our to our double page layout. Now, last tutorial we set up our column widths and we set up our pages and we set up our bleed and our page outline and our margins for all the pages. So this tutorial is all going to be about setting up guides so that we can position our content in the right place. Now, to set up a guide, it's pretty easy. All you do is you drag in, hold down the mouse button in the ruler at the top or on the left-hand side, and it gives us the icon like that at the moment. And we pull down and you see it brings us down the line. Now, when it brings it down, guys, you see here that it gives us as well a position of where that appears. So we're saying the y coordinate here is 1.85. As you can see, is there. That's the reason why when I told you to do a draft layout and annotate the magazine cover, that you annotated it using centimetres down to 30 centimetres or however big your magazine is. If you didn't do that, then you're going to find this really difficult and you're going to have to go back to your magazine and do that again. So a few things about guides, okay, is if you want to change the colour of your guides, what you do is you go into here, layout, ruler guides. There's loads of different colours that you can have, brick red and how they look. And if you want to edit them when you've got them on screen or do anything with them, you go down to here, go to grids and guides. Now, you might want to hide them because there might be quite a lot on screen, so you can either click on this button or you can do the Apple key and semicolon, and that will remove them so you can't see them. And then when you've added them all, what I would suggest that you do is that you lock the guides so that they can't be moved or you won't move them by mistake. The final thing to make sure is ticked is snap to guides. That means that your content will snap into the boxes that we are selecting. And you may need to remove this at a further point, but we can talk about that later on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start inserting my guides. So let's have a look at my Acrobat document. Okay, so I know that the first one needs to be at 0.9 centimetres. So what I do is I'll drag the guide in, click on it once. When it's on the screen, just change that to 0.9 cm. That's the first one in. Okay, the next one needs to be at 1.2. Drag it in, put it in there, 1.2. Third one is 2.1. 2.1, 2.6, 2.6. Next one's going to be 8.1. 8.7. So I'm just working on the horizontal, the vertical ones, and I'll start working on the horizontal after this. 8.7, 8.9, next one. 9.8. Okay, let's have a look. Next one is 28.6. 29. 28.6, 29, 29.2. Okay, 29.2 will be the final one, and let's just make sure we've got the horizontal, these ones set correctly. And that just about does that. The only ones I haven't done are these here, and what we will do is we will come back to those when we do the graphics that we are going to put in later on, but it's important that they're marked up. Oh, sorry, I need to do the other page as well. So we've got 2.4 on this page. Sorry, put it in the wrong place. 2.4. Did you notice that? See, if I drag the guide from here, it only puts it on this page, whereas if I want to work on that page, it needs to be dragged from here, from that page. So just so you remember that, because if you don't do that, it isn't going to work. Let me just check that. That's 100% correct, because it looks a bit out actually. .4. Next one. So 2.2 that should be, and the next one should be 2.4. And again, we want to copy this guide here, which is set at 1.2, because that needs to come into here. So just bear with me a sec. Make sure that I've got that 100% correct. That one comes into here. So that is going to be 1.2. Um, 1.2. Finally, that one there. I think that one is actually a little bit out. It's not 2.4. I think it is 2.1. There you go, that's better. So now we can see that if we look at this, let's zoom out a little bit. See, we sort of started to lay out the page similarly to the way that it looks here. We've got our columns, 4 columns, 1, 2, 3, 4. We've got our gaps where the white space, so here we've got white space there, gap. There'll be some text in this one, another gap. We've got another block of text here. We've got the gap between the text, so where the black border will go across here. A small white gap there, and we'll have that border in here. So what you want to do, that's the next thing to do, is set up your guides and grids. After you've set them up and you're sure they're 100% correct, what we're going to do, again, like I showed you, is go View, go to Guides and Grids, and go Lock Guides. So now that when they're locked, I can't move them. Okay, next thing.